Thanks, Nick. I'll pass you over to Andy to share back on what we just read. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you. My name's Andy. I'm an addict.
Andy.
It's good to be here, and it's good to be a member of Cocaine Anonymous. My home group is in Swindon. It's on a Friday night at 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock. It's a newcomers meeting, and we've got group members in there. We've got service available in there. It's about a year old now. We're in the book. It's a book study meeting predominantly, and we discuss very much what you're discussing in your meeting. We're talking about relapse. Relapse isn't a dirty word in our meeting. Get that. We talk a lot about chapter 3, more about alcoholism, and anyone down that way on a Friday night, pop in, would be around. So I suppose that part that Nick just read out from A Vision for You about the Mayflower Hotel, I'll get to that in a bit, if that's all right. I believe that bit, when you read that, it gave me like, I feel like the hairs on the back of my neck stand up a little bit, and quite emotional actually to hear that, and understand also the importance of that. Like I said, I'll get to that in a bit, but firstly, I suppose I need to explain to you why I come to Cocaine Anonymous. I came here some time ago, completely kind of lost, really, physically and emotionally, sort of out there, struggling to get through life, with or without drugs and alcohol. I couldn't sort of imagine a life with or without it. I don't know if anyone can identify with that, but just that thought of not having another drug, or not having just something, in my system. It's really scary. Do you know what I mean? And for years, I've been sort of taking all sorts of drugs and pharmaceutical drugs and stuff like that, and obviously, I'm here today, because there came a point in my life where I'd sort of had enough of all that, and I decided, that I needed to change. I need to change up a little bit, and I could not do it. I could not stop for anybody, and let alone myself. Such a painful kind of experience looking back, just to, think about those relapses and those, all those people that crossed my path, that tried to help me, that were really genuine, professionals, loved ones, family members, friends, just getting to the point where they're just fed up with how I'm behaving, it's getting to the point where they're at the end of their tether, There's several chapters in the book that, that talk about that, wives, employers, family afterward, predominantly, those 3 chapters are all kind of like centered around that. And the alcoholic is, that sort of whirlwind, roaring his way through the lives of others. That was me, and I never knew that at the time. That's sort of how lost I was, and how sort of damaged I was. It's only because of Cocaine Anonymous and the steps I took that I realised the impact that I was having on other people around me. Those warped lives of blameless children. Talks about that. thank you to Cocaine Anonymous. Thank you to the people that put this book together, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and allowed me to get a little bit of freedom from addiction and find out about that stuff. I come here, for the new man. I try and come here in different ways sometimes, not just in different meetings, trying to explore new kind of skills on how to approach the newcomer. It's been really interesting, to learn from everybody really on how best I should do that, and seeing other people doing it, and seeing other people make mistakes and all that sort of stuff, And I'm only here because someone worked their 12 step on me, I was out there using and suffering, someone reached out to me, told me about Cocaine Anonymous, and it took me another sort of 2 years to sort of have my spiritual experience. So, if you're new to this fellowship, or if you're still using, or still confused, or scared or unsure about what's really going on in your life and in our lives and in Cocaine Anonymous, welcome. That's normal. That's just part of the course. I think. I think we all have to go through that. I come here because of my complete and utter inability to leave drugs and alcohol alone, no matter how great the necessity or the wish. Quite frankly, I had no defence against that first drink or drug, and I could not rely on my own willpower, could not rely on my own memory, could not rely on my own sound reasoning, my morals. I couldn't rely on any other human being, and that's where I was at. I'd come to that point, and even then, I still wanted to give it. I still thought I could manage and control the situation, and I suppose I realised today that there was a malfunction going on. There was something missing, that was preventing the normal functioning of that willpower. But how it's all very well me understanding that, and knowing that and being told that, and even sort of feeling that and getting it, like step one. But I think for my experiences that step one kind of, I was going to say debate, but I suppose the step one sort of understanding or conversation, for me personally, it took some time. It just wasn't just about, oh yeah, I'm powerless, over drugs and alcohol, my life's unmanageable. Yeah, what's next? It was like that, but then over time I learnt more about it. Yeah, and that's cool as well, because we're going to use some language tonight. That's probably not in the big book even, and some of you might go. And we're going to use some language that you won't even hear in treatment centres. Yeah, we're going to use some language that you won't hear in other fellowships, and some of you might go, well, what Some of you might get resentful around that. Some of you might kind of not come back as a result of that. Hopefully you will. Hopefully it'll be something that will be that'll stick with you, and that's my primary purpose, to carry this message, of Cocaine Anonymous that I understand today within the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So it's kind of like pointed out to me that I had to stop trying to work out why I relapsed. Yeah. I'll say that again, I had to stop trying to work out why I relapse. yet for a long time I was told the opposite, and I'll be mindful not to break any of the 12 traditions of Cocaine Anonymous in my share tonight, because obviously it's being recorded, and I'm not here to, I'm not a public speaker. I'm not kind of somebody who gets off on sitting up here telling jokes, making you lot laugh so you might come back, making you all feel comfortable so you might return, getting my needs met, in that way, yeah. If anybody is on a convention committee and as a share finder, my name's Andy H from Swindon, yeah. Give me a call. I'll be happy to share at any kind of event that you want me to. It's a duty. I've got a responsibility up here. I'm not part of the CA fraternity. I'm not a celebrity Cocaine Anonymous speaker. I'm just Andy from Swindon, just somebody who's living life without drugs and alcohol. And I do not put my recovery first. I put your recovery first. That's what I learned. I never knew that. I didn't. I really didn't know that. I was completely. That was not pointed out to me when I first came into Cocaine Anonymous. Yeah, it just wasn't. Or it might have been, but yeah, fair enough. It might have been. Yeah, but I was a bit locked off to that, because I'm selfish and self-centered and whatever, yeah. Thankfully, people persevered with me and pushed through that selfishness. Andy, why are you here? What are you doing here? And I remember, sort of being in the corner of the meeting place and, with a friend chatting and laughing and joking about something, newcomers over in the corner of the room. I never knew how that might make them feel. I never understood. I never sort of got that. That had to be pointed out to me, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm able to do that with other people today. That's what it's all about, I think. Is it not? I come to Cocaine Anonymous. I don't want to relapse again. I do not want to relapse again. And I know that nothing so much ensures immunity from drugs or alcohol than intensive work with another alcoholic or another addict. And there's plenty of proof of that around, and especially up in Birmingham. You guys, this 3 years old up here. It's blowing up in Birmingham. And it's just amazing to be part of this, this fellowship and seeing it grow up here. I brought some guys from Swindon up with me today just so we can see what you guys are doing, how it's happening, how you guys have got it sort of locked down, so we can copy you lot. We don't know what we're doing. We're just winging it down there. I know you lot are winging it up here as well. We're all winging it. You know what I mean? We don't know, do we? All I know is that, today, through, the Step 12 results, the Step 12 promises have come true for me. They really have. Some of the other promises have as well, like the 9th step and some others, yeah. But predominantly, that kind of, I'm sort of compelled to work with others. You know what I mean? I'll do anything for the next fiend that comes through that door. It's the bright spot in my life. And today, I feel safe and protected. The problem's been removed. You know, what is that? What is it in those step 10 promises that it talks about? You know, this problem, this crux of the problem. You know, and it talks about it, done it in the book. It says, what kind of thinking dominates the mind of an alcoholic? It repeats time after time that desperate experiment of that first drink, that first one. Yeah. You know, what is it about this failure to sufficiently recall the consequences with enough force to prevent me from doing it again? You know, why is it that that fails? It sort of like it dissolves. Those consequences, my experience is they're there. I've done it. I've walked past the courthouse. I'm about 3 months clean. I'm in Swindon. I'm working on an allotment. I'm in a hostel. I've had thousands of pounds thrown at me. You know, I'm like the golden boy of recovery. I'm 3 months clean, and I see the dealer on the magistrate's court steps, and I just walk. And there's recognition. I walk on. Didn't use. Go to the allotment. I'm hanging around the allotment. I'm clean. I'm hanging around the allotment. Whatever I'm doing, I can't recall it very, very well. But I'm hanging around the allotment. You know, I'm off, and I've gone and scored, and I've used. You know, relapse. Why? Why did I relapse? Well, there'll be plenty of people who get paid thousands of pounds, plenty of sponsors, yeah, plenty of old timers that will give you 100 reasons to why I relapsed, yeah. But when I think about it, you know, those alibis, those reasons, insanely insufficient in the light of what always happened when Andy takes that first one. Yeah. You know, and that's a real sort of, it's kind of like a bit of a blow, crushing blow. You know, like, I can't do anything about it. I can't even predict when it's going to happen. And it's sort of like, it goes against everything that people try to teach me, you know, try to empower me with before. And this sort of understanding that, you know, lack of power is my dilemma. I need some other power. I need another power that's going to provide me with that defence. You know, and that defence, book explains it well. You know, that defence needs to be something like the kind of defence that keeps me from putting my hand on a hot stove. You know, and I love drugs and alcohol. I do. Isn't it, Lisa? We love the effect produced by drugs and alcohol. You know, what is that? What is that today that I still do, you know? I love crack. I love heroin. Heroin is the one for me. You know, but today, you know, it's just not there. For some reason, you know, that has been removed. You know, the whole kind of like energy and focus and drive, you know, that was behind me for so many years around those drugs has completely been removed. You know, and how that's happened, I wish I could tell you exactly how it's happened. I wish I could give you like the magic. I was going to say the magic pill, but that'd be like a drug. But you know, like you know, I wish I could give it to you and go, yeah, crack on, go away, get on with your life if everything's going to be sweet. But it's not, you know. People come here, they come in, they use the steps as a strategy to prevent them from relapsing. They go away, they do their prayer and they get on their knees. They say the step 3 prayer. the step 11 prayer, the step 7 prayer, the serenity prayer. They write their own prayers. I've done all that. Step 10, inventory, nightly review, on awakening. Let us think about the 24 hours ahead. All that stuff. Working with others. Still relapse. What is it about this baffling feature of alcoholism? This sort of condition. And we'll probably never know. That's the reality of it. And it's only when I kind of conceded that notion, that thing about like just stop it. Stop trying to work out why I do it. Let's focus on why I can't remember what happened the last time I did it. Well, is that not more important?
Yeah.
I think that we have anybody who's not used today, anybody who's not, anybody who's up for being a member of Cocaine Anonymous, can do. They can do the smallest thing to help the next person coming in through that door. It doesn't matter what it is, yeah? It could be like a hug at the steps, yeah? Could be anything. Just a bit of eye contact, yeah? Don't think that just because you're like a day or whatever clean and you ain't ready for I'm not ready for that, you know what I mean? Or, I haven't done my amends yet, or, or whatever, you can still be of use. You can still be helpful to somebody in this fellowship. To be honest with you, I'm sort of past the point of learning anything off anybody over a year clean. I'm not saying that I'm unteachable, but I learn more from the new man. Yeah, tell me about your relapses. Tell me what happened. Yeah. What was missing? Let's get into that. What about Fred? Yeah, it's clear-cut direction on page 90 to 92 in the big book. It shows us what to do. It explains to us quite clearly on how we need to approach the new man, doesn't it? It says see him alone. It talks about that stuff. It talks about referring to the chapter on alcoholism, chapter 3. And there's plenty of stuff in there that you can pull apart. And if you're up for it, and you're open to some kind of spiritual experience, that's where it will come before anything else. That's where it will come before any step 4 or step 5, that you'll be waiting for some spiritual experience to happen in. Yeah? It will come there. If you can match your experience to some of the stories in there, the jaywalker, yeah, the man of 30, Fred, Jim, and the certain American businessman, let's look at this stuff. That's what the book's pointing out to us. It always has been, and I think that we've missed some of that over the years. And then thankfully there's people in this room, in this fellowship, they don't miss that. They've picked up on that. They've remembered that. Yeah, they've seen it. It's jumped out at them. It's come alive for them. Or they've understood the importance of it, and they've not diluted it. Yeah, in spite of the £1 million industry that's tried to change it or dilute it or fight or go against it. And it fucking upsets me, I'll tell you that. It makes me fucking sick to my fucking core. There's people out there, newcomers dying out there, man. I park my car in Swindon and I walk through town and I just see degradation and just poverty, homelessness, smack, spice, alcoholism, street level, begging, all sorts. I turn up at my hungry meeting and there's about 6 people there. It should be rammed in there. You know, it talks about it, doesn't it? You know, we can render an even greater service. You know, we can help when no one else can. Yeah, and this stuff works when other activities fail. And you know, I just hope that you know that I'm still around to carry this message to other people. You know, I'm just so grateful to some of the old boys in Cocaine Anonymous, you know, that stuck around and that explained to me that I suffered with this alcoholic mentality, and you know, it's a real privilege, you know, to just to be part of a movement, you know. And I want to read this. It's on page 186, yeah, of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous number 3, you know, and that thing that Nick read out, that's that moment, you know, where Bill, he walked through the Mayflower Hotel. You know, if he had gone into the bar with the gate shattered, we might not be here today, you know. Mm-hmm. Instead, he realised, you know, there was a defence there. Something happened. He didn't use. He didn't drink. He realised that if he made a quick little phone call, you know, to the clergyman, those guys, they know people. Do you know what I mean? Get out there. They know. People come to the clergyman in desperation, yeah, and they're people like us, aren't they? Yeah. You know, and he knew that there'd be someone there, somebody that, and there was, wasn't there? You know, it says, I'll finish on this, and you know, I just want to say thank you for inviting me up here to share. I love Cocaine Anonymous. It says, we're not up here trying to take any of your rights or privileges away from you, but we have a programme whereby we think we can stay sober. Part of that programme is that we take it to someone else who needs it and wants it. Now, if you don't want it, we'll not take up your time, and we'll be going out looking for someone else. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.